This isn't really a Karen Read update. It's more or less a Karen Read PSA, because a lot of you are losing your shit. And I'm hoping that maybe I can help by giving you some coping mechanisms that will help you survive the next half of the trial. Now, I understand what you're going through. I've done it before too. When you're new to this, it's very confusing because none of this is logical. None of what is normally supposed to happen is happening. And the stuff you expect to see isn't there. Questions and your anxiety, you're starting to unravel a little bit. And then you come into my comment section and you're causing me to unravel a little bit. Now, let me just be frank with you for a minute. I'm just trying to rip off the Band-Aid. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but the sooner you get past this first critical barrier and start to see it for what it is, it's going to be so much easier on you. But let me just be frank. John O'Keefe died on January 29th, 2022. That was 3 years and 3 months ago. Do you honestly believe you're the only person that has ever said, oh, aren't there Ring videos? Like, doesn't the guy across the street have a Ring camera? We could just get the Ring videos. I get it. In normal circumstances, that would be where you start. We're 3 years past that. Doesn't make it a dumb question, but let me just tell you, again, you need to realize this. Every bit of evidence that would be critical, that we would want to see to prove that Karen didn't do it, no longer exists. So those videos, destroyed, damaged, disappeared, manufactured, manipulated, whatever. It's 3 years later. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. Gone. When you have an investigator or a team of investigators whose sole mission is to put Karen Read behind bars, they are going to manipulate and destroy every single thing put in their path that might steer them in a different direction. So you're asking questions as if we're dealing with officers who really want to find out the truth, who want to give their fellow officer some justice, who want to find out who killed a Boston police officer and a very good man. They don't want to know that. So the earlier you wrap your brain around what's happening, the happier you're going to be. I promise you. Your anxiety level will come way down. Once you cross that threshold, you're going to be a much happier person. Let me end the confusion. There was never, ever, ever any, not an ounce of effort made to prove that this was not Karen, or an ounce of effort made to follow any other lead. Never. Saying like, well, why didn't they do DNA tests? Or why didn't they talk to this witness? Or why didn't they didn't want to. It didn't play into their narrative. Why doesn't the defense do it? The defense is not obligated to put on a defense. Karen Read's presumed innocent. So all they really have to do is show up and wait for the Commonwealth, who has the burden of proof. They have to prove beyond reasonable doubt she intentionally killed John with her SUV. And they have to convince the jurors beyond reasonable doubt. Now, Alan Jackson's going to put on a hell of a defense, and he's going to poke holes in all of their stuff. But really, all he has to do is get a juror to think that this is all a little fishy, that this group didn't really properly investigate it. He doesn't have to prove where Karen was or what Karen was doing or why this other person did it. He doesn't have to. All he has to do is get one juror to think something over here isn't right, and it gives them reasonable doubt. When we're talking about a Ring video of Karen returning home that night after 34 Fairview, yes, there was a video. Just like there's a million other videos, there's a video of her returning home that night. There is. It's gone. It's long gone. But instead of spending money and resources trying to hunt down a video, which you're never going to get your hands on, it's just easier for the defense to get a cop up on the stand and say, isn't this video missing? Yes. And didn't one of your officers have John's phone? Yes. And didn't he access the Ring app on John's phone? Yes. And now that video is missing? Yes. Reasonable doubt. Shows like Law and Order and CSI, they've ruined us in a couple of ways. One, We know basic police procedure. Aunt Bev was right when she said that guy didn't have to come in and testify because we already know what the norm is. You're called to a dead body, you rope it off, you take pictures, you collect evidence, you go canvas. We all know this. I know this, you know this, they know this. They chose not to do it for a reason, okay? We know procedure and we're waiting for them to do it. And if you're still waiting for them to do it, or you're waiting to find out that they did it, you're gonna be holding your breath for a really fucking long time because they didn't. They didn't care to, they didn't want to, they didn't, because it would have led them in another direction. But the second way these shows have ruined us is they always solve the mystery by the end of the hour. If we're lucky, our heroine gets to be found not guilty and walk out because we've already identified this other person that did it. That's not going to happen either. If you're trying to solve the mystery, that's great. Knock yourself out. Do what you want to do to try and solve the mystery. As I sit here today, I don't think we're ever going to know that until one of these people is lying on their deathbed and they decide they're going to squeal. Maybe. We aren't going to end the hour knowing who did this. If you just watch and say, I know this is corrupt. I am witnessing corruption. I am witnessing them railroad this woman. The sooner you realize that, the less anxiety you're going to have. And you're not going to have to come undone every single day, wondering why this isn't going the way you believed that Olivia Benson would handle it. This is not a normal situation. Don't stress yourself out.